It's January 15th, 2010, VLCD day 48. Now, I'm up a little bit today. Yesterday I was 288.2. That was looking really great, right? Well, this morning, my scale has two readings, everything from 291.4 to 292.2. Now, what could that be? Well, as far as the diet itself yesterday, same type of meal. I might have had a few more macadamia nuts and chocolate delight. I really don't think that's it. What I really think this is, and my belt, by the way, is one notch lower than when I showed you all my belt. I think it's water retention. And the reason why I think it's water retention is, well, I didn't have the fruit yesterday, oddly enough. I didn't have any apples. I forgot. By the time I remembered, it was way too late to have one. And the other thing was, yesterday and the day before, I had a grissini, which I really haven't had much during this protocol. And the reason why I had the grissini was because, now Vicky in the UK will understand this, maybe, because it's a love-hate relationship with this stuff that I'm about to talk about. I'm probably one of in the minority of Americans who know what Marmite is. It's a British spread. They use it usually on buttered toast. You put it very sparingly because it has a very strong salty flavor. It's high in salt. It's spent brewer's yeast. It's made from the leftover brewer's yeast they used to make Bass Ale. And I love this stuff. I also have Australian Vegemite here. Not that I eat that much of it. The other thing is, for those who don't know, Marmite, Vegemite, all these types of things, they naturally contain MSG. They don't add MSG to it. Let me just clear something up on MSG. MSG is not some man-created chemical, okay? It's not. What's-his-face, Trudeau, is kind of full of shit here, and I'm going to tell you why. MSG was invented, really wasn't invented, but it was put together like that in the early 1900s by a Japanese not a researcher, scientist, whatever. Basically, his wife was using kelp, long strands of kelp in her cooking, and kelp is high in glutamic acid. Glutamic acid, it's a natural, like an amino acid, and he discovered that everything she cooked with this was very savory. They call it umami in Japan. It's like another taste sensation they defined the name for. You know, salt, salty, sweet, bitter, etc. Sour, sweet, umami, savory. So anyway, the glutamic acid, whatever these are, they're stabilized with salt, monosodium, right? Monosodium glutamate. That's all it is. And MSG itself does not make you fat. Let's clear this up right here. It's not some magical chemical that makes you fat. All the research that they've done on MSG making you fat, actually, the real mechanism of people becoming heavier is that MSG makes the food taste better. And you tend to eat more when it tastes better. That's what it is. It itself does not make you fat. It can't happen, all right? So Kevin Trudeau, you're full of shit again. And all these crazy, I know I mentioned in one of Rich's videos about the warning about MSG in the McCormick's, because they have it in the gravy thing, and I was just throwing that out there as a whatever, not because I buy into the hysteria with MSG. I researched it, I used to, and then I researched it and I found out, like a lot of these scares that are on the internet, it's a half-truth, just like the crap with microwave ovens and all this other garbage. I mean, I'm not saying you should microwave your food or you should eat lots of MSG or you should buy Accent and put it on your food. I'm not saying that. Generally, it's okay and probably advised to avoid this stuff, and some people are sensitive to it. That's the Chinese restaurant syndrome, where you get the tightening of the face, the headaches and things. Some people are sensitive to MSG. And I know that in super high concentrations, like many natural substances, it can probably be harmful. Okay, we're not talking about that. Anyway, off of that aside, okay, off my soapbox there. Marmite, this British bread, Vegemite, the Australian one, and similar ones are naturally contain MSG. So anyway, the grissini dipped in the Marmite, unbelievable. Now there's no real calories in Marmite. It's got some calories. They're almost non-existent. They're almost non-existent. It's a completely vegetarian product. It's just spent brewer's yeast with some vegetable extract, salt. It's very high in salt, but this is the crux of what I think why I'm retaining the water. It's very high in salt, and when you have a grissini about this long, you break it into pieces like this, and you dip each one, you're getting lots of salt. Now I drank lots of water, I thought, to compensate because I knew it was high in salt. Maybe not enough. Maybe whatever I drank, my body just held on to, retained to dilute that salt. So I'll try to cut down on that. I don't really consider that a cheat. I honestly don't think this is fat gain. This is probably just water weight, and that's what I'm sticking to for now. Because, you know, my pants aren't any tighter. They're looser, if anything. My belt got tight, you know, I could pull it tighter. So I just wanted to come clean there. Again, I don't think that's a violation of the whole thing with Gina and whatever, because I didn't think anything of it, to be honest with you. This stuff has, like, no calories. I was just like, wow, this is cool. So, I think that's about it. Oh, and my Gina update, she texted me last night. She texted me, because where she is, I guess it's hard to get a signal, maybe. She made homemade apple pie for her nephew. It smelled great. She would have loved a piece, but she had her apple instead. So she stayed on protocol. So she's good. We're proud of you, Gina, because apple pie, especially one you baked yourself, you know, that's a tough one. It's like me with the blueberry pie with my mom's huckleberry pie, you know. You know, she's got some hunger, but she was satisfied after eating. And I guess that's the HCG at work, that she was okay being satisfied, even though she says she's hungry, but I don't know if that hungry is real hunger or this kind of hunger. Probably this kind of hunger. She didn't specify. So, yeah, so that's about it there. So hopefully, you know, today I'll, as much as it hurts, I'll just to try to get this water weight off, I'll stay away from that Marmite, and maybe I'll have more asparagus or something today. Maybe I don't like to commit in my vlog to this because I don't know what's going to happen as the day goes on, but maybe I'll go for a quick walk. I don't know. It's Friday. Tomorrow morning I have to be at the high school for a wrestling match. My son's 9 years old, but they have it at the high school, wrestling meet. So I have to be there at like 8 a.m. I love getting up that early on a Saturday, which means I have to get up at least by 7. Yeah. So there we are. We'll see what happens. I hate these barriers, you know, 300, 290. I know initially I went back up into 300, came back down. So I know this is all going to keep going down the way it should. The trend will continue down. It's always bad to get a setback. I call it the Simeon's two-step, you know. So, sometimes you know, Simeon's is usually 2 steps forward, but sometimes you get the 2 steps back, and that's what this is. You know, I'm not going to get too excited over it. It's always upsetting to get on the scale and find out you gained not only, you know, a few pounds, but I really think this time it's definitely water weight, because I was eating on protocol, you know, and doing everything that has always worked for me, and that's the only difference there. So that might have been it. So anyway, and just so you know, anybody who does want to mail order try Marmite at any other time, any other stage of this, use it very sparingly. The big mistake that Americans make, and that our British and Australian friends like to play tricks on us if you're ever in a mixed setting there, is Americans are used to spreading stuff on thick, you know, whether it's peanut butter or jam, jelly, whatever. You can't do that with this stuff. It's very concentrated, strong, and salty. You'll just, your face will, it's very sparingly. They played a trick on us like that when I was in Tahiti. There was, not Tahiti, the Cook Islands. There were a lot of Australians down there, and they have the similar thing called Vegemite, and it's the same thing. And any American who tries it the way an American would spread something on is just, oh, how could you eat this crap? But they grow up with it. It's high in B vitamins, by the way. So anyway, I'm sure Vicky probably got a kick out of this, and I know there's lots of Brits who hate Marmite and everything. Just because you're British or Australian or whatever doesn't mean you like this kind of stuff. But it's a tradition over there, and me being an Anglophile, I had to try it, and I love it. Anyway, take care. Bye.